Okay, I think we can start. Let me share the presentation. Perfect. Yeah, can you hear me properly? Just please write something in the chat if you can see the presentation, if the voice is clear. Okay, perfect. Right, then, yeah, we can start. If someone will add later, they can just listen from the moment, and the video will be on YouTube, so you can just access it whenever you want. Okay, so today's topic is healthy lifestyle and habits, simple practices for the day, exercise part 2. Basically is a continuation of exercise topic because it's huge. I just split it into multiple meetups, and today is part 2. But firstly, let's just shortly recap what we learned in part 1. We learned about VO2 max, that VO2 max is maximum oxygen uptake during exercise, basically how much the amount of oxygen your body can absorb during exercise, absorbent process, right? So not all oxygen that we breathe, your body can process. That the VO2 max is correlated to cardio health and longevity. So basically, the better is VO2 max, better your cardio health, and it also has direct correlation into longevity. And that cardio activity helps to improve VO2 max. So either steady state cardio or HIIT or different types of cardio, right? Like walking, jogging can improve your VO2 max. Okay, let's remind short reminder about cardio activity guidelines. Moderate activity, ideally 150 to 300 minutes per week. It can be brisk walking, so like walking with not very slow, but like moderate speed walking. So brisk walking, very light jogging, gardening. It also like here, so basically taking care of flowers and things like that. Vigorous activity is 75 to 150 minutes per week. It's more like average jogging, right? So like 8 to 10 kilometers per hour. Swimming, cycling, rowing, like basically everything falls into vigorous activity. Vigorous activity is mostly when it's hard for you to keep conversation. Basically, you still can have a conversation with someone, but it's harder to keep and like breathe for the activity and talk with someone at the same time. And of course, consistency is the key for boosting VO2 max and overall heart health. And also, we talked last time about sedentary lifestyle. Yeah, all of us has not all of us, but okay, about 80 to 90% of us spends sitting a lot, like 6, 8, 10, even 12 hours a day, and that's not good. But yeah, since almost all of jobs move to more like sitting style in front of a computer, we can do some activities, and it will help to mitigate the harm that we get because we sit a lot, because it's not healthy. First, it's exercise snacks. Ideally, it's exercise snacks. It's some activity from 1 to 5 minutes. Squats, walking up the stairs, push-ups, or something like that. Ideally, every 1 or 2 hours if you keep sitting. Again, other is daily walking. Aim for about 8 to 10,000 steps a day, or it can be one long walk multiple short walks, it doesn't matter. You can also use walking as your exercise snack, just walk for a few minutes. And more general activity like stand or pace during phone calls. So the kind of exercise snacks, right? When you just talk and you just walk around, and use stairs rather than elevators. That's also pretty good idea. Okay, now let's switch to the topics of the day, what we have today. First is benefits of exercise. Shortly we'll go through them, then hypertrophy and strength training, and of course the last one is injury prevention. Again, pretty good, I would say, proverb that exercise is like brushing your teeth. You need it for health. As you pick brush and toothpaste you like, pick type of exercise and activity that you like. So we all need some activity, some exercise, but you don't need even to go to the gym, or you can do some workouts at home, jog outside, pick a sport that you like. So. Okay. Longevity and health. Why basically we need exercise? It's not just about weight. So basically, I would say that a lot of people right now, think about that you need exercise to just decrease your weight. If you're overweight, obese, and like those people need exercise only. But a lot of latest research shows that higher fitness levels reduce the risk of premature death, and it's not correlated with weight even. So basically, if a person is slightly overweight but he or she exercises, he has less risk of premature death than the people who even in proper, like not proper, but like not overweight, but they don't exercise. And also physical activity improves both physical and mental health. And it's also very important that there are a lot of studies that physical activity improves depression, helps with depression and other markers for physical and mental health. Okay, now let's talk about why we need hypertrophy and strength training. First is age-related decline that starts around 30 for muscle and 40 for bone density. What is it? Basically, after age 30, 35, we start to lose muscle mass, about 1% per year. The same with bone density after like 40, 45. And that's not cool, right? So basically, if you don't exercise, you already don't have a lot of muscle mass, and with time you have even less of it. Just let's make an example, right? Let's say you have 100, your muscle mass is 100, right? And at age 30, and someone who exercises, they gain more muscle. So let's say their muscle mass is 150, just random numbers, but because they exercise, they have more muscle, bigger muscles, more muscle mass. Okay, now you start to lose 1% of your muscle every year after 30, 35. So basically after, I don't know, 30 years, at age 60, what you have, like 75, something like that, because 1% every year, so around 75, I would say. For the person who has 150, because he or she exercises, okay, even 1%, right? So it's not 1 every year, kind of, it's like a 1.5. So it will be around 100, right? So basically 1.5 on 30, so like 45, so around 100. Just let's round it a bit. So basically, the person at his age 60 will have around the same muscle mass that you had at your age 30. And it's just simple as that. And also, exercise can help to prevent or offset or just decrease the rate of decline of muscle mass. For example, people that actively exercise, of course, you can still gain your muscle mass. So if you start to exercise even at age like 50, you can still gain more muscle and just decrease the rate, and people who exercise all the time, they also can offset or decrease the rate of their decline. So it can be even not like 150 to 100, it can be like to 110, 120. So the rate of decline will be slower, and it can start later in life, like not in 30, but like 40, 45, and then slow decline. So, and that's a huge difference because I would say, for example, let's say, 100 we started and 150, but it can be hard to move yourself, just your body weight, let's say at about 50 or 60 like points, just imaginable. So at some point, you'll struggle to just move around, like pick groceries from the supermarket and stuff like that. So ideally, to have as much muscle mass build as possible, no matter when you can see, when you start, you can start like in older age and build more muscle mass. That's all fine, but just, and basically the same is bone density. Bone density is important because like in older age, it gets lower, and like is more risk of injury when you fall or something like that. And basically it's the same. If you exercise, you put pressure on your muscle and bones, and they it helps to decrease the rate of decreasing of bone density, or even sometimes even offset it. So resistance training and proper nutrition can contract these declines. And yes, we'll talk about the importance of incorporating strength work at any age. Basically, strength work is one of the most strength and hypertrophy. Basically, just some resistance training is very important for mitigating these age-related declines. Okay, fundamentals of hypertrophy training. Key variables of hypertrophy training. Volume is the amount of reps that you do in basically for muscle group in a week. Intensity, it's basically the rest period, how much intensity you do between your rest period between sets, how fast you do it. Effort, it's how complicated it's for you. Ideally, it should be pretty complicated. So if you do it like with lightweight and you don't feel any, I would say, pressure on the muscle, so it's easier for you, it's harder to grow. And frequency is basically how often you train. I would say mostly like a particular muscle group. So we'll talk about that as well. So you should train at least a few one, or depending on volume, and you should hit a particular volume per week. Rep range for the hypertrophy training, typically 6 to 12 reps with 1 to 3 reps in reserve. So yeah, you can do, for example, 14 reps, but you do 12 reps, and the last reps should be like pretty hard for you, but not to failure. Exercise types. Compound movements, just squats, deadlift, bench press, push-ups, pull-ups, something where you use multiple muscles, so like back and biceps, and or just a lot of leg muscles, like for the squats, stuff like that. Isolation movements for targeted groups is just, for example, exercises for just some muscle group, biceps, triceps, and so on. Yeah, the so-called 3 to 5 protocol. So it's pretty easy to remember. 3 to 5 workouts per week with 3 to 5 exercises per session. Focus on 3 to 5 sets and reps for building strength without excess hypertrophy. So just making sure that it's pretty simple. You select 3 to 5 exercises. Doesn't matter which ones. The ones you want to build strength. Ideally, I would say it's like compound movement, like pull-ups, I don't know, bench press, squats, something like that, deadlift. You do them 3 to 5 times per week. Every exercise do for 3 to 5 sets, and with 3 to 5 reps. So it's pretty simple. Why You can ask why so many reps and sets, and that like 3 to 5 times per week, it's quite often. That's basically because when you do 3 to 5 reps, your muscles are not that tired because it's not to failure usually, or to failure, but like not fatigued too much, and it's a bit easier. Recover faster than in hypertrophy training. And key takeaways on training. Takeaways. First, choose the training style that you enjoy. Ideally, incorporate both hypertrophy and strength training for work for balanced fitness. If you train in the gym, or even if you don't, try at least maybe once a week hypertrophy training, once a week strength training, or you can put them in one workout because you need both. Hypertrophy focuses more on muscle size, so you'll be able to grow muscle. Strength more on your strength, and strength is also correlated quite a lot the same way as VO2 max with your longevity. So the more strength you have, the better. Don't like gym? Okay, doesn't matter. Pick up sport or physical activities that you like. Again, cycling, jogging, some sport, competitive sport, rowing, doesn't matter. Do some activity. If you have an opportunity, do some resistance training as well, at least once or twice a week. Like it shouldn't be like too much, like 20, 30 minutes, do a few exercises, perfect. Regular exercise again improves mood, cognitive abilities, and overall quality of life. And don't underestimate the role of recovery and sleep in achieving results. Basically, if you don't sleep enough, don't recover, don't eat properly, it's harder to grow muscle, to keep improving in exercise. And now let's talk about injury prevention. Proper movement and gradual progression are essential. Regular screening helps to identify mobility or stability issues, and balancing intensity with recovery minimizes the risk of overuse or injuries. First, let's talk about movement screening and assessment. Tools. There are so-called functional movement screening, or FMS for short. Basically, it's just a list of movements to assess your level and prevent injuries. You can just Google it. It's basically like 6 or 7, from 6 to 8, I would say, some exercises. You can find videos on how to do them. The goal is to assess your level. They're mostly for checking like differences between, for example, left and right side. Because, for example, if your one side is stronger than other, and you have some balance issues with one or another side, you need to address it a bit more to prevent injuries in the future because of those imbalances. Additional tests could be bodyweight squat, push-up, plank hold, and some grip strength to also assess your level. And yeah, basically the result will be customized training to address your individual weaknesses. Let's go to safe progression and load management. When you go to the gym, for example, for the first time, you can see a very fast progress. For example, you can go, I don't know, from bench press from 50 to 100 kg in like half a year or a year, just for example, right? But try not to do it too quickly. Use 10% rule. So increase training load by no more than 10% per week. It also goes with jogging or cycling, for example. Yeah, the same with weight in the gym. But I would say with the weight is even more important. For example, when you go from 50, yeah, don't go to straight to 60. Go to 55 because it's 10%. 10% of 55, 50 plus 5, 55. Then go to 60. Then 65, 70, 75, or maybe 77 if you can. Like, but don't go like more than 10% increase. Just be careful with it, and avoid too much too soon. The same with jogging or something else. If you jog like 2 kilometers, try to jog next week, I don't know, 2.5 kilometers, then 3. Don't go from 2 to 10 like in the next training. And include planned deload weeks. Ideally, every 4 to 8 weeks to allow recovery. I'll make an example with the gym training. For example, you do like, I don't know, 10 exercises per session, 4 sets for each exercise. What you do in deload weeks, you either decrease amount of sessions per week. For example, instead of 4, you do 2 to 3 sessions. Another one, you can decrease amount of sets. So instead of 4 sets per exercise, you do 1 or 2 sets, maybe 2 to 3. And you can decrease amount of exercise. And the same, you can decrease amount of weight you do. For example, instead of 50 kg, you do 30, 35. So 10, 20% less, maybe 30% less, and it will help you to recover. So basically, put less pressure on muscles. Ideally, it would be less sets, less weight, so compounded together, and maybe less sessions. Now let's talk about technique, equipment, and environment. First of all, if you're just beginning, start fundamental movements. So it's squat, deadlift, press, pulls, so like bench press and pull-ups and things like that. So basically just movement. Before you start to isolate or put heavy movements, heavy loads for those movements. Always try to check your equipment. Have proper footwear and well-maintained gear. In the gym, if you do, is there is a bunch of people there, yeah, just before you start doing exercise, just check that everything works properly. Ensure training surfaces are safe and appropriate, so nothing in your way. And small details can make a big difference in preventing injuries. So just be focused when you do your exercise, focus on technique, and be careful. And recognizing and managing overuse. Common signs of overuse injuries: it's persistent pain, morning stiffness, swelling in some muscle joints. Early intervention. First is adjust activity levels. For example, you can decrease activity level or just rest completely. If it still not help or it's painful, just seek professional advice. And emphasize again gradual progression and listen to your body. So like, don't push too much too soon. What we can do with responding to minor injuries. First is RICE method, so basically rest, ice, compression, elevation. It will help to decrease inflammation at the place of injury. Active recovery, so gentle movement to promote blood flow and maintain mobility. Yeah, in most cases, active recovery is better than just complete rest. Of course, depending on the situation, yeah, but if you can, just active recovery could be just walking, like slight movements with the joint or with the muscle, just to promote, again, blood flow and maintain mobility. And return to activity. Before you return to activity, ensure that the movement is pain-free and the strength is near equal, for example, to the opposite side, or near equal to what it was before, to resume the activity. And basically that's all for today. Shortly, what will be in next meetups, we'll talk about stretching, breathing, hydration, smart training, and exercise advanced tips. And yeah, final thoughts on Q&A. Consistency and enjoyment are key to a sustainable exercise routine. Adapt training and recovery strategies to meet individual goals. And of course, just make it a habit that you enjoy. That's all for today. If you have any questions, write them in the chat and we can talk about it. Okay, so if no questions, thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, you can write then your questions here on meetup.com, doesn't matter. I'll answer. The next meetup probably will be in the end of the next week or the week after that. So thank you everyone and have a nice evening.